He died because of a parking spot. And some of you, looking at the empty number 47, knew. You would have done the same. Parking spot number 47. Cole always arrived at the office at 7:42. The dashboard clock of his old Chevrolet displayed that time with military precision. He clicked the lock 3 times, making sure the car was closed, and only then walked into the building. That was his ritual. Everyone in accounting knew about this habit. One morning, a colleague passing by his desk smirked. Again at 7:42? Cole lifted his eyes from the papers. Always, he said, without a smile. The joke hung in the air. To Cole, it wasn't funny. His spot was number 47, a gray rectangle with white lines, nothing special, but for him it was personal territory. Every day he pulled in as if occupying a room in his own house. Colleagues joked, Cole is part of the parking lot. The car may leave, but he stays like a post. He didn't object. Deep down, it felt like recognition. He had a point of stability. Sometimes at home, he said aloud, the main thing is to grab 47. Once, his wife waved him off, again with the parking, and switched the channel. The news came on. A man in the suburbs had struck his neighbor over a garbage bin, the victim in the hospital. The anchor called it a domestic conflict. His wife snorted, people are losing their minds. For her, it was trivial. For Cole, a warning. A small spark could burn everything down. Monday morning looked no different from the rest. Wet asphalt gleamed after the night's rain. Cole switched on the blinker, ready to roll into his spot. But in number 47 stood a stranger's car, a gray Toyota with a forgotten coffee cup on the roof. Cole stared at the number 47 and felt something click inside, as if his ritual had been broken by someone else's hands. From that moment on, order no longer belonged to him. Cole decided not to make a scene at first. Someone else's car in his spot? Fine. He parked 2 rows away, between a white Ford and a rusty pickup. But all day, he felt as if he'd been thrown out the door. The next day, the same thing. The silver Toyota rooted itself into number 47. Behind the wheel, the new guy from marketing, Eric. Tall, neatly combed, wearing the smile of, I'm always fine. That same day, near the gate, Cole approached the guard. The cameras in the lot, do they work? The guard didn't lift his eyes from the phone. Haven't in a long time. And nobody's fixing them? Nobody cares, the guard said lazily. Cole nodded and left. That explained a lot. By the coffee machine, he tried to hint to Eric himself. You know, there on 47. What? Usually that spot is taken. Pause. I didn't see a reserved sign, so it's free. His voice was steady, too steady. On the 3rd day, Cole wrote a note. Spot number 47 occupied. Please park elsewhere. He taped it to the Toyota's windshield. That evening he returned and saw the same note, crumpled, thrown on the hood of his Chevrolet. Eric, passing by, paused for a second. A short smirk flashed in his eyes. Then he placed a paper cup on his roof and drove away, leaving it wobbling in the wind. The next day at the office, near the conference room, someone said aloud, Eric's fitting in fast, gets along with everyone. Laughter, approving nods. Cole stayed silent. He sat with a folder in his hands, as if he hadn't heard. Friday morning, he wrote another note, this time short. Final warning. That evening, Eric removed the paper without a word, but before getting into his Toyota, he looked straight at the building's wall camera, the smirk still on his face. Cole saw it from a distance and understood. Now it was a game, and he wasn't the only player anymore. The scratch on his door gnawed at him. Cole ran his finger over it every time, making sure it was still there. Proof the intruder had crossed the line. He began coming earlier, first 7:20, then 7:10, once even 6:50. Yet the Toyota was already on 47. Cole noted the times in a notebook. 6:52, already there. At work, he started slipping. His boss laid a report on the desk. "Cole, you mixed up the numbers. Right here." Cole glanced quickly. The error was obvious, but he just shrugged. "I'll fix it." The boss frowned. "Pay more attention." Cole nodded, but his mind circled one thought. How did he get there first? One evening, Cole didn't go home right away. He sat in his car, waiting for Eric. He counted his steps, noted how long he smoked, how he talked on the phone. Every detail filed away, like a dossier. Over the weekend, he ran into Eric at the supermarket near the checkout. Eric's basket, milk and bread. Cole's, beer and frozen pizza. Their eyes met, no words, just a taut silence. Eric looked away first. Cole felt it, part of the game. At dinner, his wife asked, "Are you even listening?" Cole poked at his potatoes in silence. "Still thinking about the parking?" He threw down his fork. "Just eat." She went quiet. After dinner, he shut himself in the bedroom. The next day, passing the Toyota, he dragged his key across the rear bumper, a thin line barely visible. Eric seemed not to notice. That was worse than a reaction. That evening, Cole went to an electronics shop, bought the cheapest dash cam and memory cards, paid in cash. The salesman asked, "For home?" Cole shrugged. "Something like that." Back home, he fixed the camera to his dashboard, lens trained on 47. Now he had a tool. The camera was simple but functional. Every morning, Cole checked the memory card. At first, only banal scenes. Cars pulling in, people dropping bags, the guards smoking by the gate. Eric always arrived a bit after 7:30. Predictable. Then came a night recording. The Toyota on 47. Inside, Eric and a woman, not his wife. Cole had seen Eric's wife at office parties, knew her face. This one was different, a blonde with a tight smile that turned to laughter in the car. She leaned closer, touched his hand. The car rocked slightly. Cole rewound. In the background, the guard passed with a trash bag, tossed it in the bin, walked on. Blind to the Toyota swaying beside him, windows fogging up. The world had shut its eyes. Cole hit pause again. In the glass reflection, Eric's wedding ring glinted. He stared at it for a long time. Eric's phone lit up in the cup holder. On speaker came a woman's voice. "When are you coming home?" Eric quickly pressed a button. "On my way." The woman beside him stifled a laugh, and he fell silent. The next day, at the coffee machine, Cole overheard, "Eric's wife is a saint, puts up with his schedule, his trips. Not everyone could." Cole stood by, pretending not to listen, but now he knew behind Eric's smile and saintly wife ran a fault line, and only he saw it. That night, checking again, he noticed the phone screen in the reflection, Missed call from Anna, home. Cole froze on pause, unable to look away. Now he had everything he needed. The first payment happened without fuss. In the evening, Eric slipped him some bills in the lot. No words, no eye contact, just a quick gesture. Cole pocketed the cash and, for the first time in weeks, felt in control. But on the way to his car, he noticed the Toyota's trunk half open. Eric slammed it shut too fast. Cole caught a metallic glint inside. Crowbar or a sheathed knife. Work tool or prepared for him? The thought stuck like a splinter. From then on, Cole checked the camera before breakfast. The food grew cold, the coffee untouched. He sat in his robe in the kitchen until the laptop showed another blank night or a few new seconds of the Toyota. His demands grew stranger. First money, then small errands. Bring me coffee. Cover that report. Then one day, tomorrow, you go to the meeting instead of me. Eric nodded silently. In that silence, Cole tasted the sweetness of power. But emptiness grew too. After each service, he felt a void filled only by checking the camera again. He had stopped living between moments of surveillance. At the office, whispers spread. Eric's jumpy lately. Notice his hands shaking? Maybe trouble at home. Cole heard, but stayed quiet. He knew the reason and savored it. At home, his wife said, "Take out the trash before it stinks." Cole waved her off. "Later!" She sighed, retreated to the kitchen. His world shrank to one line, spot number 47, and everything bound to it. By evening, the tension peaked. Sitting in his car, waiting. His phone vibrated. On screen, Eric. He picked up. "We settled this tonight," Eric said, flat and dry. He froze. His ears rang. He was sure this meant violence. Cole arrived early. He waited in his Chevrolet while the last cars rumbled off, stomach empty, palms damp. In his mind, the Toyota's trunk, the gleam of metal, Eric's voice. At 7:30, the Toyota entered. For a moment, Cole stiffened. Eric parked not on 47, but beside it. Engine off, doors shut. Cole even felt relief. Maybe the game was over. But a few minutes later, Eric slid the car into his spot, tires neatly between the lines. A challenge, psychological whiplash. Cole stepped out first. "Well," he said, "you understand the rules now?" Eric stood still, eyes cold, face pale. Something heavy bulged beneath his jacket. He adjusted the fabric, as if hiding it. Cole tensed. Then the Toyota's door slammed. A woman stepped out. The voice he had once heard on speaker. The wife. In her hand, a kitchen knife with a black plastic handle. She walked fast, almost running. The blade flashed in the lamplight. One thrust, straight into his stomach. Cole didn't move in time. Air rushed out in a rasp. He staggered, clutched at his car's hood, fingers slipping on the metal. His knees buckled, body collapsed onto cold asphalt, beside the white number 47. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw, farther down the row, a colleague stood, tossing a bag into his trunk. He saw but didn't move, just froze, then got into his car and drove away. Blood spread along the painted line. In his ears a roar. The world shrank to the glare of headlights. The last thought came plain and dry. He didn't strike. She did. Morning at the lot became ordinary again. Rows of cars lined up neatly, each in its place. Only number 47 stayed vacant. The white lines stood out sharper, as if everyone walked around them. Cole's colleagues noticed it at once. No one parked there. Even newcomers, never told the tradition, chose to leave it alone. Sometimes conversations brushed close. Someone muttered, "Strange, it's still free." Another answered, "Let it be." And the subject died. One young guy once smirked, "I'd have slit a throat for that spot too." No laughter followed. Silence did. A week later, a newcomer dared. One morning, his sedan sat on 47. Everyone exchanged glances, said nothing. The next day, the car had a long scratch down its side. No one saw who did it, but the air carried the sense that Cole's anger lingered even after his death. From then on, no one parked in 47 again. Spot number 47 remained empty. Not a vacancy, a test.